us, and that is much appreciated. Trust me. All I ask of you is just tell everybody else how good the BBC Asia network is. Tell your friends. Now, Nepal has been granted 2020 international status by the ICC. Now, the decision was taken by the board of said organisation at its annual conference in Melbourne this Saturday gone. Now, along with Nepal, Netherlands has also been given the status. Now, we know you guys at home do tend to love a bit of cricket, and currently India are playing England, although playing might be stretching the definition if yesterday's anything to go by, in the fourth test. And of course, in about 7 minutes' time, we'll be crossing to Old Trafford to find out what the latest is. But do you wonder what it was like back in the day when international cricket teams were first starting up? With me now is Khadka, who is cricket captain for Nepal. He's over in the UK here to try and drum up support for the team. And he's with Prashant, Kunwar, who's a big fan of the team. He's also trying to get cricket boards in this country to think about giving Nepalese players the chance to play in this country. So a very important job both gentlemen are doing. Parash, if I could start with you. Firstly, good morning. Welcome to the BBC Asia Network. Tell me, what is it like growing up in Nepal with cricket around you? I mean, are Nepalese as obsessed with cricket as Indians are?
It's almost similar. I mean, it's crazy. Like, every time we play back home, we don't have a stadium as such, but then we have a ground where we play all our international matches, and there's like 15,000-20,000 people every time we play. Really. I'm not kidding.
Amazing.
You can Google pictures. I mean, the pictures will, portray.
And is that test playing?
No,
or 50-50?
50 over and T20 cricket.
50 and T20.
Yeah.
And how big is the population of Nepal?
We were along, I don't know, 300 million?
30 million.
30 million, sorry, 30 million.
30 million.
30 million.
30 million. Oh, so it's a fair population. I mean, it's a big size. I mean, Sri Lanka's 20 million odd.
Yeah.
So, 30 million is a fair size. I wasn't aware that the population was as big as that. Why do you think it's taken so long, Prashant, for Nepal to be seen as a serious cricket-playing nation? Why do you think it's taken this long?
I think, I'll say, I think one of the reasons is the lack of infrastructure.
Right.
And Nepal, I think Nepal opened up to cricket after '96 World Cup when, and followed by
which is, of course, the World Cup Sri Lanka won.
Exactly.
Course, yes.
And followed by the cable TV as well. A lot of people watching cricket in Nepal, and then people like Paras who came up, and then basically they took profession as a cricketers. And that's how we started, getting in cricket.
And how difficult is it for us to play with players that will help your game? Because, of course, for the IPL, for instance, it's always good, isn't it, for players to play with the best?
Yeah.
But in Nepal, is that difficult?
See, I mean, we have been doing very well at under-19 levels. See, I myself played 3 under-19 World Cups. So we played against the likes of Alistair Cook, team president, Ravi Bopara, like if we're talking about England, Owen Morgan, where Owen Morgan was playing for Ireland then, during the under-19s. We've beaten South Africa, New Zealand, guys like Martin Guptill at under-19 levels. But then it's just that at senior levels, I think over a period of time, we slowly but steadily managed to, do well. And we qualified for the World Cup, the T20 World Cup, which is held in Bangladesh. So having performed very well, we played against Bangladesh, Afghanistan and Hong Kong, beat Afghanistan and Hong Kong, and then, lost out to Bangladesh. But then, we got a very good coverage for Nepal cricket during that period. So that way, I think we presented ourselves to the whole world. And after having seen the kind of enthusiasm, ICC also, presented us with the T20 status. So right now, we have the status to play against England, Australia, India, you name it. We just have to work out the schedule. So most people don't know about this, but then we've got that status now. Hopefully, we can, bring out a schedule where we can compete against the test-playing the bigger countries.
Because it's interesting, isn't it, is that, your population is larger than Australia's population, isn't it?
Yeah,
You've got more people than Australia, and yet Australia, of course, are a cricketing powerhouse. How long do you think it will be until Nepal will sit at that top table? Because, of course, for many years, and it's still it's the case to a certain extent, that Bangladesh is still seen as the kind of easy team to beat. amongst South Asian teams, especially?
I think, see, we started international cricket 1996. I mean, our history goes back to a very short period. So but then the thing is that we are so close to India, since India is very close. I'm sure there must have been some influence regarding cricket. But then it's just that at international level, after 1996 is where we got affiliation from the Asian Cricket Council. Then we got into ICC. Then we have a very short history. So that way, I think we are slowly progressing. But then over the past 6-7 years, the amount of people that follow the game is like tenfolds, I would say, what it used to be back in the days. Like everybody knows about cricket, what the cricket team is doing, what the players are doing. It's almost like what happens in India. So that way, like I said before, so many people following the game online. All the Nepalese living abroad as well, following through internet, through social media and everyone. So I think cricket's really picked up its height, because after the World Cup, the whole country is now focusing on cricket. Even the government and everybody, they want to do something regarding how to develop cricket. And hopefully we need support from countries like India, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, especially India being the I would say the mecca of cricket. They can literally do whatever for the best interest of the game. If we can tie up,
they can do everything apart from play well, as they proved yesterday.
It's part of the game. Unfortunately, they haven't had the best couple of test matches.
Well, they're in a transition phase, aren't they? Apart from Dhoni and Ishant Sharma, it's a very new squad, isn't it? It's a very young team, but it's still inexcusable what happened yesterday, isn't it? 8 for 4. Have you ever seen anything like it?
That's cricket for you.
But I've never seen a test playing team collapse like that.
It happens. Australia, I think when they played against South Africa a couple of years ago in South Africa, they got bowled out for 42-4.
Oh, right, okay.
Remember that?
Yeah. So, well, maybe I don't. If I was Australian, I'd remember that.
I follow the Australian cricket team, so I know the statistics.
Wow.
And
but that was incredible to see.
It's part of the game, cricket.
After the back, of course, of what England's very, very strong victory against India in Southampton at the Rose Bowl in the third test. Tell me about the youth setup in Nepal. Young people now, you were talking, Prashant, about this infrastructure. Is the infrastructure now good enough to bring school kids through, to spot talent, to nurture that talent and get them to the stage where they can be playing against Australia and against India and against Sri Lanka in T20s?
Well, at the moment, what we have is we have grounds, but we don't have stadiums. And from the government, there is a plan that there is a proposal that we have a new stadium in Mulpani, and they are working on this, but I don't know how long how long it's going to take to finish that. But from the even from the business hubs as well, business houses, they're looking to promote cricket and support cricket, and now they have a cricket academy, I believe.
Yeah, we have a national cricket academy back home. It's called the NCA, and basically what it does is it provides scholarship to anybody who wants to just come up on weekends and holidays. If they want to come and play cricket, there are coaches, certified level 1, level 2, level 3 coaches to provide them basic training. And in schools, when we as cricketers go to schools, the kids go crazy. For them it's wow, so they superstars.
They look upon them.
Look upon them. So I think right now it's very, very important. This is, I would say, the best time to develop infrastructure in terms of school cricket. Sri Lanka, when they got test status in 1980, 16 years down the line, they won the World Cup, in 1996.
And of course won the World Cup this year as well.
We got T20 status now, so hopefully, this is, I would say, the best time to build on the infrastructure, get the right people, connected, and then, have a cricketing culture, because I see a huge following back home. Now we just need to put things in perspective as to, how do we move about? We need proper infrastructure, grounds, the number of players are easily available. We need school cricket, college cricket, corporate sectors are very, very keen to, go out there and invest on the game and on the players.
So where's Nepal's strength? Now, Pakistan has always been very good at producing pace bowlers, for instance. What does Nepal have? What are its strengths? Is it in the batting attack? In the batting? Is it in the bowling attack? Is it spin? Is it pace?
You play the game of cricket, you got to do well in all 3 departments.
Well,
but then
that's the idea.
That's the idea. You see.
But India for the longest time didn't have pace, did it?
We need, I would say we are more of a stronger bowling and a fielding unit compared to batting, because batting is something, you need. You see teams like Bangladesh, even India or anybody, if England goes to I mean, India, they struggle because of the conditions. Batting is something like it differs from like different conditions. So that way, I would say batting is something we really need to focus on and improve on. I think bowling and fielding, we are, up there. We need to, just play more matches, because for teams like us, the more matches you play against the bigger, better teams, that's how we're going to learn and develop. So hopefully, we can get the right, tie-up with, England cricket or Cricket Australia, in BCCI, and then,
And you're going to have to be very confident in yourselves, aren't you? Because, of course, for those first matches which you play against the big boys, you might get humiliated. You might get beaten really, really badly. And that's your courage then, your strength of nerve, which is exactly what the Bangladesh squad had to go through, wasn't it, for years? But then it got a result here and it got a result there, and it beat one of the big boys, and it just made everyone more confident.
Well, Netherlands I think Ireland beat England as well.
Yes. So it can be done.
This time, even like if you look into Nepal and Afghanistan is quite, like they've got a good ranking in they are in the T20 and even ODI as well. But Nepal beat Afghanistan, in the T20 World Cup, so that was a bit of a surprise.
Yes, that's very, very true.
It's more to do with opportunities. The more opportunities you get to play against, you can only learn through your mistakes. Like they say, you learn from your mistakes. Like the thing, once you play against better teams, better opponents, you know what needs to be done. How to get to that level. So that way, you go back, do the homework, and come back again, and
Is there a good enough coach in Nepal, or like so many teams, will it be an Australian or a South African?
We have been trained by Mr. Prabhudasan Naiki, a former Sri Lankan Test player.
Right.
He's a former, like I said, a Test player, and he guided Canada to the 2011 World Cup, which India won. Then in 2011, after the World Cup, he came to Nepal. It's been 3 years that he's been with us, and like the day one when he came to Nepal, he's like the reporters and media, asking him like, "What's your vision?" He said, "I want Nepal to play international cricket and get them into T20 World Cup or in the 50-over World Cup." Unfortunately, we couldn't make it to the 50-over World Cup next year, but then we made it to the T20 World Cup.
That's fine,
it's a gradual step. It's a step-by-step process. So we have an amazing coach. I think he's been doing very, very well.
Yeah.
And hopefully, in coming, I would say months and years, we'll produce the right results to go higher up the rank, play against all the big boys of cricket.
And of course, the more young people in Nepal see you on the TV playing, the more they'll want to be part of that.
Exactly.
Yeah, which means that it will keep developing. Like I say, your population is bigger than that of Sri Lanka and of Australia. So there's no reason why Nepal can't draw on its vast resources. It's got to make sure that it has a good scouting structure, so it doesn't just get its cricketers from the posh schools, and it has to be able to, like Sri Lanka has done. I mean, Malinga, for instance, he doesn't come from a privileged background at all. It's going out and finding the players, the talent, the raw talent at a very early stage, and developing that. Well, it's fascinating talking to you guys. We'll come back and speak to you a little bit more after we play a bit of music. But before the music, of course, let us cross to old. It is 30 minutes past 11, and you are listening to Nihal live on the BBC Asian Network. I'm joined by two gentlemen who are very much interested in promoting Nepalese cricket. Of course, in South Asia, Nepal is probably the only country left, isn't it?
Yeah.
That has not entered into the family. Now you're into the T20 family, which means now we are going to see you on a world stage. And I'm joined by Khadka, who is the cricket captain of Nepal, and Prashant Kunwar, big fan of the team, but also trying to get cricketing boards in this country here to think about giving Nepalese players the chance to play here in the UK, and thus, of course, give them the kind of experience they need. Parash, where do you play your cricket then?
It's normally back home. I come from the capital, Kathmandu.
Right.
So I play for the Armed Police Force. So we have the different units, the army, the police, and the armed police force. So I play for the Armed Police Force. There are 9 development regions which have been divided all over the whole country. So we have a regional tournament. I played outside Nepal as well. I went to Canada and played for a period of 3 months. I was there.
What was that experience?
It's good. Just getting to know.
What did you learn?
Just the experience of playing for a club, because that is the first time I went outside Nepal. I mean, I was playing for my country, but then going and playing for a club is a complete different structure. You're living on your own. There's so many things that you learn. And then if like cricket, you've been hired to play cricket, so that way it mentally, it makes you really tough because I mean, there's no way there's no way out. You have got to perform because you have been hired as a professional. So that way, I think it really helped my game, and that's what we're trying to do that for our players as well. Hopefully, next year we can tie up with cricket clubs over here in England, and we can bring in our players. Give them that exposure because, like I said, the players that we have played against at under 19 levels, and even guys, I'm teams like players from Ireland, Scotland. These guys are playing like county cricket. So hopefully, even for us, if we can bring our players over here or even tie up with, I would say, BCCI, the Board of Control for Cricket in India, then, we can have our teams and players play in, state level cricket in India, the Ranji Trophy matches and all that. So, if we can make something like that, that'll really help Nepal cricket and cricketers grow.
Prashant, we hear so little about the Nepali community. We hear a lot about the Indian and the Pakistani and the Bangladeshi, and then to a lower extent the Sri Lankan community. But is there a big Nepali community here in the UK?
Yes, the Nepalese community is growing in England, in UK as a whole, with the recent rights to stay of Gorkhas now, and the families coming in, and a lot of students, and now they're working. So I think there's quite a lot of Nepalese community now. I reckon officially around 150,000 plus.
Where? Here in the UK?
Yes.
Oh, is that right?
Yes,
that many?
Yes.
Wow.
So, now a lot of people are now in a profession. Most of them, they have small business, like in a restaurant business. Most of them are, that's an easy business.
Yeah.
And that's what they're in. But a lot of are now in a very entrepreneurial as well, coming up with different ideas and trying to link Nepal with the UK and, bringing Nepalese good in the UK. So you're likely to see more Nepalese people come out now, in a few years' time.
Well, that's good, because that means, of course, that if you come and play here, sorry, not if, when you come and play here for Nepal, hopefully you'll get a bit of support come out for you.
We get support everywhere we go, all over the world. I think we're one of the most, I would say we're the best supported team outside the test playing countries. Easily.
Really?
Easily.
Wow. So in Canada, did you come across many Nepalese?
There are so many of them. Everywhere. Wherever the Nepal team goes, we play against UAE in Sharjah, and we have more supporters than the home team itself. We go to Ireland, there are more Nepalese, watching cricket than the Irish.
And what kind of fans are they? Are they quite mellow fans? Are they quite? Do they cheer a lot? Is there a lot of noise?
They dance, they cheer, they do everything.
Yeah, a bit like Punjabi people do, like drum and everything.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow, I look forward to that party atmosphere taking place. At this point in time, Paras, can a cricketer from Nepal make a living from it?
It has improved from what it used to be, but still, we can, because after the World Cup, I would say, the country has taken a new, attitude towards cricket and cricketers, and now sports has become a priority all of a sudden for our country, because we are going through a developing stage even for the whole country itself. So because we started doing so well in cricket, now the government believes that if we can invest, because in spite of very limited resources, we managed to get into a World Cup. So imagine if you put in, if you manage the resources and give the right amount of attention to, administration, how to develop infrastructure, how to look after the players, I'm sure there will be better results. So that way the government, all of a sudden they're like, after you qualified, the Home Minister, the Prime Minister, they called us up and, congratulated us right then and there, which has never happened before. So after we qualified, I talked to the then, Prime Minister. He's like, congratulations, you guys have made the country proud. So that way I think the country has really taken up to cricket. So professionalism will slowly but steadily take its course. Like I said, the corporate houses and, all banks, all these big, I would say corporate people, they want to get cricketers involved into different institutions, organizations. So it's definitely improving. But as of now, if you really talk about, sustaining yourself, it's still not up there. But then hopefully, in coming, I would say months and years, we can manage a system where cricket and cricketers can benefit from it.
And of course, one thing that has affected, unfortunately, cricket over the last, several years actually, is this idea of cricketers that are not earning a lot of money being approached by criminal gangs to do spot fixing, etc., etc. What is in place to make sure that Nepalese cricketers, now that you're on this bigger stage, aren't tempted into taking this money. I mean, big money as well.
Yeah, I think it's you're bound to follow the ICC code of conduct.
Yeah.
Every tournament that we play, a major ICC event, you go through a class where you're directed as to what you need to do in terms of like if a bookie approaches you, even if there's a phone call from a friend, somebody giving you random gifts and this and that, so you're given all this, like the classes you attend, you're given what needs to be done. So that way,
is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that way, I think we are pretty much aware of what needs to be done. And the most important aspect of match fixing, if somebody approaches you and you don't report it to the concerned official, that's equivalent to you being part of it, because any even slightest, like 0.01% of anybody approaching you through just a random person coming and giving you a gift or whatever, you have been asked to please report it to the ICC. So that way, I think we've had a very clean background. We are very honest people, so we want to do something for our country. It's not, see, if it was for money, we would have left cricket long time back. And see, it's more to do with passion.
Right.
So we are very, very passionate cricketers. So that way, we want to do something for our country.
So there's an apparatus in place. Therefore, if someone who comes and says, "Look, here's a nice watch for you," you have to report that straight away.
Immediately. It's like that's the protocol. You got to follow that. So see, like I said, we're just honest cricketers. We are passionate about what we do. We are privileged and blessed. There are so many people out there loving us, who are praying for us to do well. So hopefully, like every time we go out there and play, we can produce the right results. And if we get the right support, I'm sure we'll definitely produce better results.
Well, tell me about the pressures of being a captain, because this is something, of course, that Alistair Cook has felt recently, and you'll be aware that Alistair Cook has had a terrible dip in form, which was only just recently become much better with, I think he scored a 70 or an 80.
He scored 100.
I don't think he's got a century.
95,
he got close.
And 70.
Right, I know he did well in the last test, but again yesterday I think he was out for 17.
Yeah.
The captaincy, is it a gift and a curse?
See, you got to take both aspects.
Because fair play to him, he refused to resign, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he was proved right in that last test.
It's like, see, as a captain, like the first day, it's almost been 4.5, 5 years that I've become the captain of the senior team now. And the first day that I was asked, like, what are you going to do, like, now that you're the captain of Nepal? And then I said, I'm going to lead by example. That was my exact word. So for me, it's like leading by example means going out there on the field, working hard, off the field, training hard, performing. I think performance is something that as a captain you really need to, focus on. Because, as a captain, like I said, if you want to lead by example, you need to produce the right results, set the order for everybody to follow.
Well, that's Alistair Cook's problem, wasn't it?
See, a dip in form will always happen over a period of time, whether you're a captain or a player or, whoever. As long as you play the game, there'll always be ups and downs, but then it's how you manage things. It's very, very important as a player to, realize that, okay, am I still like how I was, like, I don't know, 2 years ago? Can I still contribute the same way that I can? So that's something that, personally depends individual to individual. But as a captain, and I think one of the most important thing would be, I think more than captain, you're a player first. So you're in the team to perform. So your performance should be your first priority, whether you're a captain or you're just a player. So once you start performing as a captain, I'm sure he'll set the right example for everybody to follow.
Well, I think Alistair Cook has set the right example, hasn't he, by going through that dip in form and then fighting back from it. Now, of course, yesterday didn't work out how he would have wanted it to, obviously, but it showed one thing, that he has a strength of character, and that's what you want in a captain, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, let us now cross back to Old Trafford. It is the second day of the fourth test, and the Asian Network's Ankur Desai is there to tell us what's happening.
Cricket on BBC Asian Network.
And it's going to go all the way to the boundary.
20-minute update.
It is 46 minutes past 11, and I'm joined by two gentlemen whose job it is to promote and push the idea to the world that Nepal is going to be a cricketing powerhouse in the years to come. Now, Parash, do you think that you'll see it in your career that Nepal will be a cricketing powerhouse, or do you think you're building the foundations?
I think, why not?
Yeah, exactly right. That's exactly the attitude.
Why not? Because, see, looking at, 2 years ago, like, many people would have never thought that Nepal would ever make it to any World Cup. Forget cricket or football or whatever World Cups that there are. But then, over a period of time, bunch of cricketers, trained hard, like we followed the guidelines as to what the coach had to say, and we followed everything, and we managed to get into a World Cup. So, if we can get into a World Cup when very few people, then believe that we could make it. So that I believe that after the World Cup, I see a huge, like, it's almost like a transformation. The whole country is like taken up to cricket. I see young aspiring cricketers. They want to play for the country. They want to do something. So now it's just about setting up the right infrastructure. We set up that platform. We set up that base. I would say in 10, 15 years, I can guarantee you the talent is there. The talent is easily there. So it's just that we need to nurture the talent, put them in the right coaching system, like give them that exposure, and I would say like 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, it'll happen in my generation. I would love to see Nepal,
Yeah.
I don't know, like lift a World Cup. That's because I believe that you should always dream big. Forget
Of course.
So at least, I don't know, like...
Well, look, if Australia can do it and Sri Lanka can do it with the size of their populations, there's absolutely no reason why.
Why not? It's just
Sri Lanka won, of course, the World Cup, its first ever World Cup 18 years ago. And it's never looked back, really.
Exactly.
Good grief, Sri Lanka's got to how many finals in that time? I know more than Beth. How many finals we've got to and not one, and there's no reason why. Prashant, do you see that 10 to 15 years, or do you think it could happen sooner?
I think I agree with Paras. I mean, like there is a lot of talent. This talent needs to be nurtured, and we need to have a system in place. And one of the important things what we're trying to do here is make links with the powerhouse of the cricket, with BCCI, ECB, Cricket Australia, those sort of things. Because of the lack of infrastructure in Nepal, and these young Nepalese people going out there and playing will give the experience, the coaching and everything, and that could help us as well. And of course, I mean, and we do need infrastructure is a big thing. We do need that to set up. So if we manage to get all this sorted out 10, 15 years, I think there is hope.
So who are you going to see while you're here, Prashant? I mean, which cricketing boards are you going to see? Are you going to see counties?
Some county cricket clubs. We have a meeting, and we're likely to speak with MCC as well. There's a possible partnership we could work on, and MCC is they are basically that's where the cricket was born, Lords.
Well, the powerhouse may be in India, but the home of cricket is Lords.
Is Lords, exactly. So,
I mean,
you can't deny that.
You can't deny that, can you?
And they do help, affiliate and associate nations, and they've been helping Afghanistan as well. There have been players coming, like Mohammad Nabi used to come and play for the MCC Young Development, program. So, if we could get something this sort of program to Nepalese cricket as well, I think that could help Nepalese cricket team a lot.
Raj in Leicester is texting saying, good morning, and to your guests, it's good to see Nepal cricket team aiming to be at this international level and get a foothold and can progress further and play against other cricketing nations at test level and one day internationals T20. Good luck with your venture. And then goes on, India in the fourth test will have to play better in their second innings. Quite frankly, this fairly new Indian team has played below par to take the fourth test to a draw, hopefully. Do you see that happening, Paras? A draw?
I don't know.
Only with the help of the rain.
Depends on the weather. See, I think India need to bat well, that for sure. I think batting something that has, let them down a bit.
Absolutely.
In this series. So I would say the last couple of test matches. So if the batsmen can put the runs on the board, I would say they'll be able to compete for sure.
They've really missed Ishant Sharma, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, like...
World class, though, isn't it?
Yeah. 6 months ago, a year ago, when he got hit for 30 runs against Australia in ODI, he was being, taunted back home.
Wow.
I mean, in India, he was like, Ishant should never play for India again. And he comes to England and, takes, so many wickets, and all of a sudden, you miss him. So, I mean, that's part of the deal, I mean, as cricketers, I'm sure the captain, Dhoni, and the team management knew what they were, looking into a player. So, I mean, he produced the right result, and they're missing him big time.
They really are, aren't they? But it's part of the course, isn't it, in India? More so than in Sri Lanka. I think even when Sri Lanka does badly, rarely do you see the players attacked in the way they are in India. I mean, Yuvraj Singh's house was stoned, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Once when I think when they lost to Sri Lanka, I think that maybe I could be wrong.
Yeah, that was in the final T20.
Yeah, and his house was stoned. I mean, are you ready for that? Are you ready for that kind of passion? You know, if you know, do you think the Nepalese people would be like that?
If we can play international cricket, I mean, we'll take the stones as well as all the things that comes along. So why not? I mean, we will take anything that comes along with international cricket. See, I mean, see, it's passion. I'm like back in India and even in Nepal, this like the people are really, really passionate about, you know, the cricket team and how the players are doing. So that way, see, over a period of time, there'll always be, you know, a bunch of people, you know, trying, I mean, doing stupid things, something like that. But then see, I mean, I think there are people with, you know, bigger intentions, better intentions, who love the game, who love the cricketers. Yeah, but then there'll always be, you know, the other side of the story where, you know, people will always complain and they'll throw stones and all these kind of incidents are likely to happen. But then it's about, you know, getting the right results. And, you know, as long as you win, everybody keeps quiet. And once you stop not performing, then that's when the question comes into place. So it's about the amount of consistency that you can bring into your game. The more right results that you produce, I think that way you'll keep all these things away from from your cricketing structure and your cricketing culture.
Yeah, well, I hope so. I mean, do you see, I mean, knowing your people as you do, do you think that they have the propensity to become just as passionate as the Indian and Pakistani cricket fans in Sri Lanka?
I think they're already passionate as much as them.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
You've seen it, you've witnessed it, haven't you?
You've got to see, like, when you play at home, like, you know, the amount of people that come to the grounds and the noise that's made. It's, like I said, the passion is almost like India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, you name it.
You should look at the YouTube. I mean, being an associate and affiliate nation, I mean, the amount of the crowd Nepal can pull. And Nepal could be an independent, you know, so it could be a...
Oh, 15, 20,000. I mean, that's...
It could be a neutral venue.
Neutral venue as well.
We got amazing, like, you know, out of 12 months, we have 4 months of rain. And the remaining 8 months, like, it's perfect, feasible for cricket. We don't have extreme conditions as where you cannot play at all, something like that. It's beautiful weather.
Good for pace, good for spin.
Good for everything. But then we need to, like I said, I mean, it's one of the potential, you know, neutral venues where, you know, anybody can come and play cricket. So, I mean, we're looking into
with
that
the backdrop
avenue
of Himalayas as well, you know, so that would be a wonderful...
How about playing with Everest behind and, you know, you're playing a cricket match?
Amazing.
Imagine that.
Yeah, it'd be absolutely...
And it's a possibility as well. I'm not here to just saying it because, you know...
Okay.
Because it's a possibility.
Well, look, we're running out of time, and I know you gentlemen have to go, because you are going to Old Trafford, aren't you, this afternoon?
Yes.
To go and watch. Now, cheering for India? Cheering for England?
We just want to watch cricket.
It's a diplomatic...
A good game of cricket. Exactly. As long as the rain stays away, at least for today.
I'm sure our Indian cricket fans will be very disappointed with that answer, and our English cricket fans will go, fair play to you indeed. Very quickly, is there a website where people can find out more about Nepalese cricket? Has anyone been set up yet?
Yeah, there is a Cricket Association of Nepal website.
Right, okay.
Yeah. And if you need to follow Paras as well, I think he's got a Facebook page, and I think you are in the social media as well.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, gentlemen.
On Twitter as well. So
thank you very much for joining us today. It's been great speaking to you here on the BBC. And best of luck to the Nepalese cricket team. Fantastic.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thanks. Prashant.